Hello friends, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. I am surprised that many of you didn't ask about black, white, and gold snowflake cards after my last video. It was one of the first things that popped in my head, but I needed to do the jewel tones in the last one because it was just there, you know, so I had to just make it. Loved it, had fun with it. And then of course I had to go with gold, black and white. So if you are new to my channel or haven't been, around for years, I have a thing for gold, black, and white color scheme cards. I don't know what it is. I love the look of it, especially snowflakes. I'm sure my playlist has a ton, but yes, there is a playlist. I'll have a link to it at the end. There's like 2 or 3 dozen videos so far in it because it's one I revert to quite often. So I am loving the January 2023 card kit. I think I said 2022 in the last one. I had the title wrong, like the year wrong, and the title, everything. Thankfully, a bunch of you informed me. Yes, 2023 is almost here. We're really close. Love the card kit. Love the stamp set. Love playing with snowflake images. Like always, can never get enough. So, doing sort of the same thing. I took a piece of Simon's black cardstock. I cut it in half, cut those pieces in half again. So I've got 4 card fronts. I arranged the snowflake stamps from the Snow Love stamp set over these panels. I was using my MISTI sticky grid in my MISTI to hold the cardstock in place so I could just keep positioning each panel in the exact same spot. Anti-static powder tool was used. Then I stamped the snowflakes with clear embossing ink and heat embossed them with white embossing powder. And then I took those stamps out of my MISTI, and I'm going to repeat the process, but with different snowflake images from the same set. This time I'm going to use gold embossing powder. So I'd already got them lined up in my MISTI. I reapplied the anti-static powder to these panels outside of the MISTI because I don't want to get a bunch of anti-static powder all over that sticky grid. And then just rinse and repeat the process. Stick the panel in, ink up the stamps with clear embossing ink, cover them with Simon's gold embossing powder, set them all aside, and then melt with my heat tool. Said this a million times as well, and it's never going to get, it won't get old. There's something about heat embossing, and especially with metallic embossing powders. It's like magic. I love it. I've been making cards for like 20 years now, and this still never gets old. There's something so satisfying about melting embossing powder. So anyway, once all these panels were done, I just used my little microfiber cloth to wipe off all of that anti-static powder because it makes everything look messy, and especially on black cardstock or just dark cardstock in general. Clean it up and it looks so good. However, it doesn't need to be perfect because of course you all know what's coming. I'm gonna splatter these. You don't have to. I love it. I love it. And it's perfect with the black background. It's just, the splatter's gonna look amazing. So Amsterdam liquid white acrylic ink. Any white will work. White craft paint, picket fence distress paint, white gouache. I've used a variety of products to do white splatter on my cards, and it just changes depending on my mood or me discovering a product, in my stash, and it's like, oh, I haven't used this in a while, and I'll pull that out and then I'll use it for the next, 2 or 3 months, whatever, till I rediscover the next one. So anyway, right now it's this one. Loving it. Splattered all these backgrounds with my little fan brush and the white acrylic liquid. Let those dry for a bit and put a couple back and just added more splatter, because I can't not. I just love it. So let that dry a bit. And then of course my Gonzai Tombi Starry Colors palette, using the gold in that one. Same thing, fan brush, worked it up, and then splattered that onto these backgrounds. So I have white and gold heat embossed snowflakes and white and gold splatter on all of these backgrounds. And they're just lovely. So much fun. The previous video I did, the ink blending, 3 different colors of heat embossing because I added silver to that one. Silver would have looked really nice on this too, but I was keeping it gold, white, black, but you could totally add the silver and that would make it amazing. And then I pulled out some of my Luxe glitter cardstock from Simon. I have been hoarding this stuff. I think I have now the equivalent of 2 or 3 packs. So I feel like I have enough to actually start using it. It's really pretty. It's got more of a chunky glitter than other glitter papers. And yeah, I was determined to use the black. Again, if you didn't added the silver snowflakes, and you could use the silver glitter paper, the Luxe glitter paper, that would look amazing too. But, you know, I was going with just what was in my head and just following it. So I die cut the snowflakes that come in the kit. That's the AIDAN snowflake wafer die. And as always, I'll have links to everything below the video in the description box. I die cut that black Luxe glitter paper with that snowflake wafer die, as well as Simon's matte gold cardstock. That just chef's kiss. Love the matte gold cardstock, one of my faves. Multiple packs of that. I use that stuff all the time. So anyway, did all my die cutting. I stamped one of the sentiments from the set onto some white cardstock multiple times with the clear embossing ink after using my anti-static powder tool. And then I'm embossing these sentiments with that same gold embossing powder. Once all of these are melted, I'm going to die cut these ones with just a circle wafer die. So got all those heat embossed, tape the circle die in place with just a little bit of washi tape, and then I'll die cut all of those sentiments. So I've got all my snowflakes die cut, I've got all my sentiments die cut, my panels I'd cut down to smaller than an A2 card, and then my actual A2 card, it's going to be a top folding A2 white note card. I'm going to line this up in my MISTI. I have the inside of the card facing up, and I'm going to use almost all of the snowflakes from this set again. I'm just going to line them up on the inside, and these I'm going to ink up and stamp on the inside of the card with Simon's Golden LUXE ink. I've mentioned this before. This is one of my favorite inks that is not a pigment or metallic ink, that comes closest to like a gold color, because especially on the insides of cards, I don't like stamping unless it's a small thing, you know, or a sentiment, anything like that. But when I'm like stamping like an entire background, or like this, basically an entire background, I don't like using metallic inks, because even though like you have to give them time to dry or heat set them, because it can take a long time. But also I've noticed when I go to write on the insides of cards, there's a lot of metallic ink, it interferes with writing. It's hard to explain, but even like a good ballpoint pen or a gel pen, it gets kind of caught up in the metallic ink. It's just weird. So I don't like using it on the insides of cards. Metallic inks are beautiful. They have their place. I love them. But for stuff like this is why I like just this Golden LUXE ink, or just a nice ink that comes close to a gold color. So I stamped all the snowflakes on the insides of the cards, and then I lined up one of the sentiments from the set as well, and that I'm going to stamp with VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. So got that all lined up straight, and then stamping that with the Nocturne ink on the insides of all of these cards. So I'm going to have like the metallic and the white and the black on the outside, and then on the inside got these kind of like gold snowflakes with sentiment. The inside could technically be the outside of the card if you wanted to keep everything more flat and simple, or if you want to do like a little set of cards to give, you know, as a gift, that sort of a thing. This would work really well too. So often what I end up doing on the inside of the card is like, oh, that could have been a card front. But hey, whatever works. So while I'm doing all this, of course, I'm going to do the envelopes too, because same thing. In the last video, I decided last second to stamp the envelopes, and I loved it because snowflake stamps, they're just perfect. So anyway, lined up my envelopes in the MISTI, and I'm stamping the first little set of snowflakes with that same Golden LUXE ink. And then after I've stamped all the envelopes with that one, I'm going to arrange other snowflake stamps from the set. These ones I'll ink up with that VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. So even the envelopes are going to be white, gold, and black. The envelopes is where I would use a metallic ink. I'd be fine with that. Unless you do like actually hand address, you just make sure, I guess, to keep those ones a little further away from where you would put the address. But I use mailing labels when I address my cards, just because I have atrocious handwriting, and mailing labels just make it very clear and legible and obvious where they need to go. So I just slap a mailing label on it and it's good to go. But anyway, stamped on my envelopes, so everything's matchy-matchy. So now everything is done with the stamping. It's now just time to assemble. So I've got my little die cut snowflakes, and on camera in the video, the black glitter one, it almost kind of disappears. Oh, before I get to that, adhesive. My order of these Gina K glue bottles showed up. I had mentioned, I do this a lot. I dropped my Craft Tacky bottle that has the metal fine tip on it that I've shown in a ton of videos, and I broke it because I work in my garage. I've got little like carpet tiles in here, but I'm still like on a cement floor. So I've been breaking things because I'm clumsy. Anyway, broke that bottle. It's still usable, but the actual like fine tip literally broke it off. But anyway, I ordered these to try out with Craft Tacky glue. I cannot give a review at the moment because this is literally the first time I'm using it. Craft Tacky glue is much thicker in consistency than like Gina K Connect, Lawn Fawn glue, Studio Katia glue, MFT glue, any of those. I found the Simon's Craft Tacky glue is a thicker consistency, which personally for me, I prefer. I actually like it. Some people don't. I get it, especially because they'll have struggles squeezing bottles with the thicker glues. So if you're not a fan of thicker glue, stick with the other ones. They work great. They work great in these bottles. I'm testing out these bottles with the Craft Tacky glue, and we'll just see where this goes. Since the pack comes with 3, I've got, plenty to experiment with. But this gives me the fine tip to apply with little things like this, these little die cuts. So I applied the glue, stuck them in place. What I was saying was on camera, the black die cut snowflakes kind of just disappear in the background. In real life, they are super obvious because they're completely different. They've got the glitter and they just stand out against the black background in real life. In video, not so much, but they're there. So I adhered the snowflakes. The sentiments that were die cut with the circles, I popped on with just thin foam squares. And then I adhered these panels to the card bases. And I didn't add any other bling. I know, shocker. But I've got the die cut snowflakes and the heat embossing and the splatter. And I'm trying to show that black snowflake because it looks amazing. But you can see it better in the photos at the end. And like I said, in real life, they work, okay? So anywho, as always, I will have links below the video to my blog post, a supply list. I'll link to everything I used at the end of the video. I'll link to the previous one where I unboxed the kit and made the jewel tone cards, as well as my black, white, and gold playlist. And of course, thank you all so very much for taking the time to watch my videos. Thumbs up, comment, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Bye.